Alright guys, so I thought that I would make a video about Folium because I haven't really done one about it other than obviously showing that it exists. There has also been a YouTuber that I cannot pronounce the name of who has made one about the app, but I thought that I would make my own, go through kind of some of the features and things and talk about what's going to be happening with it, where it stands right now and stuff like that. So Vion is obviously a PlayStation Vita emulator for iPhone. At the moment, it does not support iPad from memory, and it only supports iOS 18 or 26 and above. I focused more on the glass aspect of things, which is why it supports the higher versions, but it can support down to 16, probably even lower, but people aren't on like 15, 14, 13, so it doesn't matter too much. Going through the features up the top right, you can see that there is 3.74. That is the firmware that I have installed, the version of it. Green indicates that it is installed. Orange is when it's not installed. So you can still have a number, but it just means that the firmware itself is not installed. When you start the actual app itself, the first time you install it, you'll have 3 files to download through the onboarding process. These are font package, pre-install, and PSV update. The order of those that you want to install them in somewhat matters. PSV update always needs to be last, which is the actual firmware itself, which is where you get this green 3.74 or whatever version you're installing. Otherwise, you'll get an orange 3.73. So keep in mind when you're going through those and installing them, which you do through the plus button and tapping firmware, install all 3 of them. PSV update needs to be the last one. PKG are the actual games themselves, so when you dump them, they will be PKG format, and then you can install them through that button. Zip and VPK are generally homebrew, and I need to charge my phone. The homebrew can be installed through the top right button, which do not, as far as I know, need a license. They can just be installed directly. And the license is the unique work.bin files for each PKG file. You need to install the license for the game before you install the game itself, otherwise it will not install. Some games I have also noticed do not install even if you do it correctly. I don't know if this happens on Android or desktop. I haven't tested it, but if it does, then it's not something I can fix. It's something that has to wait for Vita 3K to fix it. Otherwise, I will need to figure out what's going on my end and why it's not working if the games do show up on those other platforms. Going to the games themselves, you can see that I have a few of them installed just for testing. A lot of these do not work because of either the interpreter or they're just too intense, or the features in iOS or the code that is in iOS is not up to par with the other platforms. Obviously, same or very similar UI to Folium. You can import your own custom artwork and delete the game file if you want to. Tapping on a game will bring up a badge. So if I play Burn the Rope and then tap on the bottom, you can see that I have the emulation tab now. I can go back and forth between these without an issue. There won't be any crashes or anything like that. I think that makes navigation a lot easier than having to do stop and exit and then go and change, say, a setting and then come back and relaunch the app or the game. Burn the Rope is a game that I know that does work, so that's why I'm testing this one or showing this one. Another one that I have is Vita Tester, which just goes through the buttons and the thumbsticks and things like that. And tells you if they're working or not. So I can tap on the screen at the top, and that is the touch screen. At the moment, only the full screen works. I need to have a button that flips back and front potentially, or some other sort of way that kind of does the back and front screens, because obviously Vita has a back screen. Or like just touch and I believe L2 and R2 and potentially work. I can't exactly test the buttons because it's a lot of dragging around the screen. But if I go back to the games and go down to Vita Tester, this is where I can show all the buttons working, minus the L3 and R3, the thumbsticks, or on the thumbsticks, sorry, and the L2 and R2. So tapping L1, you can see up the top, it shows that it's working. L2 and R2 do not work, they're not connected up. R1 obviously works, and the D-pad, the triangle, square, cross, and circle also work. The right thumbstick as well as the left thumbstick and the select and start also work. Tapping on the screen and moving my finger around, you can see that it all works perfectly fine directly under where my finger is. Letting go obviously hides it. You can see on the bottom left of the screen and bottom right, the center is 127, so that is correct. On the newer version that I currently have, it doesn't always center directly because I changed how the thumbsticks work, but I will revert those changes back because this is obviously working perfectly fine. Going to the right, it hits 255, directly down is 255, and then left and up a 0 for both of them. I can pause if I want to, and you can see up the top that it shows that it's paused, and then I can unpause and it works just fine. There are no settings to change. There are obviously a few settings in Vita 3K, but a lot of them do not matter on mobile. I will add some of them that do matter, things like the 60 FPS hack and potentially upscaling. Changing the CPU doesn't matter until I add TXM or dual mapping to the JIT in dynamic. At the moment, it is all interpreted, so no JIT required whatsoever, hence why it's on the App Store. But that will take quite a while. Dynamic is somewhat set up for dual mapping, but I have not figured out how to do it just yet. I probably need to rewrite a bit of it, but I've been focusing a lot on the new Folium as well. But I will get to it. I will make sure that I get JIT working, and I will make sure that I finish the interpreter so a lot of the games that are crashing no longer crash. What you'll notice too is if you run Vita 3K on Mac, a lot of the games that work on there do not work on mobile. This can be related to Molten VK not supporting enough of the features. It could be related to the CPU. There's a few different things that matter, and a lot of the games that I've tried on Mac don't work on mobile or on my phone. So just keep that in mind when you're playing. If something does work on Mac, it may not work on this. But a few of the games, mostly 2D, do work. Quite a lot of them actually. 3D is where you get a bit of a struggle. If I tap on Sly Cooper, it does load. It's a little bit laggy in parts, especially through the menu. That's where improving the interpreter and especially with JIT would come in handy. And as this is loading, it gives me a good passage into saying that the bigger the game, the longer it takes to load. Not always. Some of the big games load quite quickly, but a lot of them are quite slow. Or it's just entirely possible that it's not loading at all. Okay, so now it's working just fine. Not quite sure what was going on there. Potentially some issue from me quitting the previous one. But you can see here that it loads just fine. In a second, you'll get the Sucker Punch logo introduction thing, and you'll notice that it lags a little bit. Me recording and me having my phone at 20% probably isn't helping whatsoever, but I wanted to record this to kind of get out what Vion is, what is happening now, and things like that. I'll let it run to the rest of the main menu until it gets to the press start section, so you can just see what's going on and the performance for it. But keep in mind that that's the percentage, and now that it's at the press start section, what I have noticed is there's some buffering in parts of the models, not a lot of them. The sound sometimes a bit slow, and there's a little lag in parts. I don't know if this is running at the right FPS or not. Hard to tell. It's like a little lag there for quite a while. It is working, and obviously it's a very good game, so it's one of the easier things to put on, and it works just fine. I have gone through the startup and stuff like that prior to getting the PlayStation, and I got to actually load into it, but it got laggy when they started rolling the controls and sliding it. I just thought this is not going to work, but afterwards it got a bit better. It fluctuates